Well, thank you very much, Rob. Thank you for having us here. It is truly a pleasure to be a part of this event. And I will walk you very quickly through some of the things that we're doing and how to bring new media to closed societies. First off, one thing to remember is that you are not your audience. When reaching out to these countries and these closed societies, you have to remember that your life and your lifestyle is very different from theirs, but you must think like them. You must put yourself in their shoes each and every day. Cuba is an island of 11 million people. It is just 90 miles away from the US. It's about the same size as Pennsylvania. It has 1 million cell phones, just about. And it has been under a totalitarian communist regime for 52 years. That's what we're up against. And you'll see some of the things that we're going to talk about tie in very well with what you've heard already this morning. People in Cuba, when we think of TV here, we think of a nice plasma TV hanging on your wall. Well, in Cuba, that's not what you find. Likewise, when you're listening to the radio or consuming radio media, in Cuba, you're not listening to it through a fancy stereo system. You're listening to it through a shortwave radio, more than likely. And certainly, when it comes to computers, they're lagging about 10 years behind, and they have Windows 98. The upside is a very important aspect of our work in reaching out to the Cuban people. Is you have to remember what's in it for them. What are you going to provide them with that they don't already have? Is it going to be information? Is it going to be a means of expression? Or is it going to be just a connection with the outside world? But there has to be an upside for them. There has to be something for them to walk away with. One of the examples that I'd like to give you of the things that we're doing is a program called Revoltillo, which roughly means the scramble. And it's a radio show, but it's a way of bringing the internet to the people in Cuba. It is basically a radio version of Craigslist. We found a website in Cuba that was basically a Craigslist, but with such limited access to the internet in Cuba, it wasn't very effective. So what we did is we decided to bring it to the people through the radio. So we read classifieds on the air, and people have sold cars. They have mentioned houses being for sales. And just like the regular Craigslist, you can get goods and services. But these are real messages because we checked them out. As I said, it's just one way of bringing the internet to the people in a way that's a little bit different, and that also encourages them to go to the actual internet to look for information. That content is king is the main rule of all media. So you have to remember that what you give them, what you give people in a closed society, has to justify the risk and the effort they go through to consume that media. And that's a critical point that I would like to make. It's very important for you to give people something that will add something to their lives and that will justify that risk of and that effort. You have to identify the influencers, who's on the inside, who can help you get the word out. You have to grow your network. You have to bring people in who are going to bring others. Information worth having is information worth sharing. Pretend it's a Ponzi scheme. The more people you bring in, the better it'll work. I said pretend. What we're doing at Radio and TV Marti is we're taking a multi-platform approach with television, radio, online, and SMS text messaging. You already know about the siphon nodes. We spoke about them earlier today. That's a big, important part of what we're doing. We have colloquial names that are easy to remember: Café con leche, frijoles negros. And Etexa is the name of the Cuban phone company. So we co-opted that name for our use. A very important part of our strategy are the SMS text messages. It's been a lot in the media written about that lately. That's our effort to reach out directly to Cubans through cell phones, delivering news and information that, frankly, the Cuban government finds very upsetting. But if I can tell you what some of the examples are, you will not find it so upsetting, because we give out baseball scores. We gave out information such as Bin Laden being dead. We give out information such as Mark Anthony and J-Lo breaking up. That kind of subversive information that dictators are always wary of. We also have a bi-weekly newsletter that goes out to 75,000 email addresses twice a week. And again, it's that kind of information. There's nothing political about it. It's just information that people will find useful, information that they can share with other people, because sharing is a big part of bringing social media and new media to these closed societies. You can't just rely on technology. And technology is great. It's a wonderful asset. But you need people inside the country to take up the struggle and to then share what they learn and what they get from you with their peers. And it is through that you can be successful. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.